Likutei Halachos or Achaim, Hilchos Tefila, Halacha Dal. We start today with the actual halacha. Until now, we told the unbelievably miraculous story of the Baal Tefila. Hilchos Tefila, this is based on that particular mice. And it says like this, Sif Aleph, V'zeh B'chinas Tefila B'tzilum. This is the principle behind davening Dafka in the minyan. Da'anu ba'asar, davening with 10 people. Kimvol sham sha'melech in anosha v'ayu asar. The melech with his men were 10. They were the melech, the malka, the queen, v'abas malka v'atinak, and the princess and the baby, v'amelitz, and the poet, v'ovid neman, and the faithful lover, v'memuna, and the one who's in charge of the oitzes v'chulu v'chulu. V'hem b'chinas olam hatikun. And they represent the olam hatikun. Olam hatikun is the world. When the world was created, there was a shvira, there was a shattering of the vessels, and the shards fell down to the cliffs, and then comes afterwards, after that stage comes the Olam Hatikun. That's the period of rectification. Because as long as the Bria was just, Kodesh Baruch Hu will manifest this and this Olam and this Olam and this Olam and this Olam, everything is just like, so there's still no Bechira. Everything is still in direct relation to Kodesh Baruch Hu. The Bria itself, so the whole thing is an exercise in futility. Only when a breakage happens, in other words, a cut-off happens, and a possibility to choose the opposite of the will of Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the creation of evil. Only when evil is an option, choice is possible. Because without the option of evil, choose between what and what. Like Henry Ford said, you can have any color car you want in Model T. I guess you can have any color you want as long as it's black. It's like there's no bechira. Bechira is possible only once evil becomes an option. So there is what they call the shattering of the vessels. There's too much light, the vessels were primitive vessels, and there was breakage. Then comes the building up of the vessels all over again, independently. And what happens is that now they come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but from choice. In other words, you can see it very clearly when Hashem created Adam and Chava as a single entity. Then he separated them. And he brought them together. And Adam said, this time, you have flesh of one flesh, essence of an essence. Lazar Sikar Yisha, this will be called a woman. What do you want? She was already with you all the time. What's the revelation? The revelation is that beforehand, the wife, the woman and the man were together by nature. There's no choice there. Now they come together, but through choice. It's a much higher madrega. The same thing, Kodesh Baruch Hu created the Bria and separated the Bria from Kodesh Baruch Hu. Before the Bria, everything was one. Okay. After the Tikkun, after the rectification, the entire Bria will turn to Kodesh Baruch Hu. It will become one again, but this time from choice. This is a much higher madrega. So Mimela, first of all, has to come the shvira, the shattering, and then comes the tikkun, olam tikkun. So he says, "Ve'em b'chinas olam tikkun." Now with this, they're talking about the olam tikkun. That's the way it's going to be in the future. V'nei mi sheyesh lo einayim liros, anybody who has an eyes that could see. Yachol lavin me'at, who can understand a little bit. Shasod Maisa says that the mystery of this particular tale, Neigea be'inyan misas hamalachim, talks about the death of the kings. This is the shattering of the vessels. Ushviras kelim v'tikunon, and the shattering of the vessels and the rectification. V'kvar amarnu kam pamim, already said a few times. Shekol ma she'anu moitzim b'maisias, everything we find in these tales. It's only a hint, a slight hint. It's less than a drop from the sea. And even in a place that Kodesh Baruch Hu really helped us, and we hit the bullseye. We actually, what we're saying the true thing. It is true. That thing that we are saying is really, part of what the Maises are. But the mystery of the tale in itself is far off from our das, from our intellect. Because for the water has risen, it's a flowing river that we have no way of traversing. At least, but what is understood, specifically over there, it is quite obvious that in this Maisa, talking about the breaking of the vessels and their rectification. There are 10 principles that correspond to the 10 Sefirot. That they suffered the breakage and the damage and the obliteration. It says in Sefer Eschal Pariza, even though the actual breakage only occurred in the 7 kings, not all 10. But even so, the shattering happened only on the lower 7 but nevertheless a certain kivyochel pugam also negea to the first 3 ones. If you remember, I told you Mishem Baal Sulam that everything that is negea to the 7 Sefirot, which is the 7 kings that we're talking about here, this is called time and Torah. The reasons of the Torah. And over here, and this is he says is a mitzvah to advertise. But anything has to do with the 3 Rishonos, the first 3, one Chochmah Bina Das, in case of Chochmah Bina, whichever the case may be, it says nobody talks about it. It's called Sisra Torah. It's called Torah Mysteries. We spoke about it in the previous Torah, Torah Yadal, Likutei. Sisra Torah, this which will reveal the Osad Lovin. This is forbidden to talk about in any madrega. He said, even in the lowest bechina, like Asiyah de Asiyah. So the Chochmah Min Adas of Asiyah de Asiyah you cannot talk about. But the 7 midos of Atzilus de Atzilus you can talk about. Even though one is all the way up and one is all the way down still. And I must explain like this. By the shattering the vessels, this is where all the taivas, all the vices and temptations and the bad traits come. The kolatoros, and all the mistakes and all the confusions. And all the discombobulations of all those who are far from Kodesh Baruch Hu. Each one, gets lost in the place where he gets lost. Through his taivas, that misdirected him, to foreign and false opinions. This is all the nonsense that in the Maises is every single sect decided what is the tachlis. One said is the glory, one said is the covet, one said is the, is the size of the body, size, bodybuilding, beauty, all those shtuyot that they have over there. They all got totally lost through the bad times. This particular, one particular sect got lost from one direction to the other, from one svara to another, until they said the main tachlis is covered. And they had great svaras, they had great proof that that's the main tachlis. Tachlis is the covered, just to be honored, to get the Nobel Prize, to be in the Hall of Fame, Cooperstown, and to win the Academy Award, and to win the Oscar. That's the main thing. The Kazakhs in a different sect, they got misdirected. And it said the main thing is murder. And they had big svaras in this as well. They get ISIS, from ISIS to the red beret, to green beret, whatever it is that they have over there. Japanese with their sword and with this, whatever it is, all the karate and the kung fu and I don't know what. And that's first. The Chayetze B'Zeh is the same thing with other sects. The Kolach they all had many reasonings and suppositions behind their mistake. Until it is actually possible to mistake it. As Rabbeinu said, he doesn't want to reveal the suppositions and the reasonings of every single sect. They have so many suppositions and proofs within themselves. You can really mistake after this. It all follows the shattering of the vessels. That is the upper midas that the vessels could not contain them. And this shattered and caused the kalim to fall to the place of the klippas. It is the kalim, the original kalim, were uniform. It's called moichin dekatnas. It's called constricted consciousness. So take, for instance, a child. Okay?
Take, for instance, me.
Takes a child. A child cannot has a brain that understands black and white. There's no gray. If it's sweet, it must be good. If it hurts, it must be bad. So what happens? The child eats a candy, and you don't want to give him any more candy because it's rotting his teeth, or her teeth. And so, it raises hell. Wow, you're the most awful person there is. On the other hand, if a child is to get vaccination, forget about it. Forget about it. It's a faith worse than death. Something like that. It hurts. It's good for them. They cannot have good and bad mixed together. This is B'derech Mashal explains the incapacity of the kelim, the original kelim before the shattering, to accept the light of the Midas Elyonis. The Midas Elyonis contain everything. The Chesed and the Gvura and the Tiferet, everything. It's like an injection. It's like everything in life. Whatever it is that you do with your children, there is, very few things are 100% this or 100% that. Everything is included with everything. The vessels cannot contain it. What happens is, when you don't give a candy to a child starts crying. What happens when a child gets an injection? He shatters, it's whatever it is. However, when it's used properly, just clean goodness. The child did something good, he gets a prize. What he does, it reaffirms him. Or if a child does something bad, and he gets punished for it, it builds him. But the minute there's a mixed message over there, it shatters. This is B'derech Mashal, the original kelim, which are kelim the katnas, could not perceive the light that was huge, that included everything, and shattered and fell down to the klippos. All the good traits turned from one extreme to the other. And they flipped over, the living words of Hashem. They had suppositions and opinions which are the opposite from the truth. It's like an op-ed in the New York Times. It sounds incredibly smart and it has absolutely nothing to do with reality. Nothing, gumished. Yeah, but listen to the words. Their vocabulary, you don't even know what they're saying. Everything comes because of the holy sparks of the supernal traits that fell in them. This is the thing that caused the klippos to grab hold of them. From them, they get the power to flip over the truth to a total lie, which resembles the original truth. The Israeli ambassador, the previous ambassador, talked to the editor-in-chief of the New York Times that said that Israel rejected the partition plan in 1948 and Palestinians received it. It's exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
It's exactly the opposite. So he told him, historically it's the opposite. So he said, that's your opinion. totally over. But it resembles, one of them said no, one of them said yes. So it flips it over that you said no and he said yes, which is the opposite of the truth. So, but it's the same. He says, this is b'fchinas kol sheker she'en bo emes b'tchilosoi, any sheker that doesn't have a shred of truth in the beginning, and no miskam b'sefer, there's nothing remains at the end. Ki kol kas v'kas makitas aros, each and every single one of those bad sects, shayulam svers b'duz because they had these outlandish, suppositions and להפך מנהם, it's completely out of the truth. כל זה נמשך בשורש, all that comes in the very beginning, מאיזה צד אמס בשורש from actual shred of truth in the very beginning. אבל אצלם נזכר כזה האמס, but by them this אמס totally got corrupted, ונתבוא על ידי זה לדרך זהוס מאוד, and that led them to very, very off opinions. Each one, resembling the meter that fell by them. According to the meter that fell into them, in the shvira, this is how they got mixed up. How specifically, we'll talk in Hashem tomorrow.